Um, well, Dee, thank you very much for joining me today. You are going to do a workshop at our 32nd annual conference in May. Why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know in the community who you are and what's your connection with adoption and foster care? Just something about yourself.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, man. My name is D. Hankins. By title, I am an inspirational speaker. Blah blah blah. None of that really matters. It's honestly, I'm just um, a product of the foster care system. I lived a life, an interesting life with people, with the hope that it helps them change their perspective or help someone else. So I spent 18 years of my life in foster care. I was in 12 different foster homes, two different group homes by the time I was 12 years old. So all those challenges that occurred with that, I now speak to them. All those barriers and those statistics and all those things that gave me every excuse to fail. I decided along the road that I was not going to. I was going to use that instead of to drag me down, to boost me up. And now, now I get to speak about my life and inspire other people. So it worked out.
When was that decision? How did you make that decision to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself out there, share my personal, because it's very hard to share a personal story and
Yeah.
inspire others with something and the traumas that you've been through. What made you decide to make that?
Well, in foster care, there's always that one piece about one caring adult, and in my life, I've had a few encounters with a few adults who believed in me and gave me potential. But what put me on the speaking path was, who I call now like my pseudo dad. And he just saw something in me. I went to school to be a lawyer. That's what I wanted to do. And he just kept saying, man, you have this talent for, basically running your mouth. And if you could take that and use your story and put it together, if you can find a way to put those together, you can really do some good in this world. And I end up taking his advice, and, I've been going 10 years strong now.
When you come to the conference in May, your title that you picked is Resilience is Everything. And I see that you're wearing a sweatshirt that says resilience on it. What kind of things are you going to focus on during I read the synopsis, but it's going to be filled with a lot
Yeah,
and,
it's gonna be.
and some
Oh, go ahead.
tears, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's real. It's a real life story, and instead of, the way I see it is, instead of reading about it, instead of reading the statistics, from an article, or instead of being in a conference, which is still good, hearing it from someone who studied it, or a social worker, or you know, uh, the doctor of whatever, the head of yada yada, whatever organization. You get a chance to hear from somebody who was in it, for his whole life. And everybody has their experience. And so, not only that, but I think it's even more important, like as a Black man, to really share my story about going through foster care, because those statistics, there's a discrepancy in statistical data, good statistical data versus not so good statistical data with, African American males who have gone through multiple foster homes. I mean, you could chop it up however you want. So I've kind of made it through all that. And so I get a chance to really share how it feels and give the answers to why, in this arena of foster care and adoptive care, we often, why do they act like that, why did they end up here, so on and so forth. So, with the sharing of my story, you get a clearer picture as to why. You get a firsthand look into the development, the behavioral developments, the trauma that ensues, and how that attaches to you years later. Why certain people, why certain things go wrong. And just I don't know, it just gives a comprehensive look into foster care and
The
one of
real
yeah,
life, the
real
real
life, real life.
you just mentioned someone who was like a pseudo dad to you. I started asking when I was doing these interviews, mentors. I didn't realize. I keep forgetting. There's people that drive you. It doesn't they don't have to be adoptive or foster or doctors or this.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there are there anybody that you know besides your, unless it's just your pseudo dad that
No,
drove you?
yeah, that's a great question. No, he really pushed me into the speaking realm.
Mhm.
Other people pushed me in just a positive direction, like graduating high school. I had my high school track and field coach who taught me many life lessons when I acted up or blew up and things like that. So he taught me some really tough things in my life going through high school that manifest today as an adult. I've had teachers who were just instrumental in my life and my decision to be, who I am today and to go into the direction that I want to go in today. And I'm a big, speaking of books, I'm a huge comic book fan. I'm a big Batman guy, and so his story really resonates with me in a way that growing up, I held on to, the Batman story, which is, I don't know if you know, but his in the comic book, his parents were, shot and killed in cold blood. And he had in a crime-ridden city. And so he had every excuse to take all that anger and that fear and that why me and turn to the streets, which a lot of us do, you know. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, so you see it every day where something happens, and all of a sudden, out of desperation, you turn to crime. But in his desperation, he chose to hone all of his skills, be the best he can at whatever he can, and then use that for good. Use that to make sure that people don't have to go through what he went through, that justice would be served, so on and so forth. And I think about that all the time. And my dad tells me all the time, like you literally had every excuse to fail, and if you did, no one would really bat an eye. No one. Well, he was in 12 different foster homes. He grew up without his dad. He grew up without his mom. What do you expect? So and he told me, like, instead of having people look at you and say, what do you expect? Now you can make a decision in which they look at you and go, wow, how'd you do it? And so that's my whole thing. I want people to look and say, wow, like I can't believe that. How did you do that? Give them an opportunity to open that door for conversation and advice, and inspire them to understand that you could do it as well.
Okay. So the last question I'll ask you. So this sounds like this is something for adoptive parents, adoptees, for foster parents, for the triad to come and listen to you. If you had to say one thing or a bunch of things or whatever thing you want, why come and see you? What would you tell everybody out there?
We could always get better. And again, it's you could be in the game for 50 years, 60 years, and think you know it all until you realize you don't know it all. And I think it's important to come and see me now, in this day and age, is because if you look out into the world, just outside of foster and adoptive care, people need to listen. We just need to listen, and we need to hear other people's stories, because in those stories you learn how you can be a better person, and you can be that person that you needed when you grew up, or the person, just the medicine for the world. So I just, at the end of the day, I do my thing, whether it's one person, whether it's 50 people. My job is to share and plant seeds. And if you want to, get blessed in a way, then, hop on over. I'll be glad to have you.